How's it going out there? Welcome to the party. Just got set up. Actually, I've been spending like 2 hours drilling holes around this little ridge that comes out from the shore. It's about 9.7 feet here. You guys will remember that I was out in 19 feet before. But I've been catching nothing out there. So this is a little piece of structure. It's pretty much the only piece of structure I can get to by walking. How's it going there, Dax and Nick? Yeah, it's the closest piece of structure I can get to by walking. It's, like I said, 10 feet right here. In the summertime, I usually go over it with the canoe and drag some crankbaits, into the mound. So it's comes up to about, I think, 8 feet of water in 15 feet of water. So that's the ridge I'm working here. I drilled like 10 holes all over the place. And I try to follow my Navionics for it to tell me exactly where the break line was. Instead, I had to really, really do the old, trial and error method. And I just kept drilling and drilling, and it just kept on saying like 10 feet. And eventually I got to a spot that says 9 feet. And I'm like, okay, here we are. I put down my underwater camera, and right here, right where I am, is a transition from a sand clam oriented bottom to a rock bottom where the rocks are about yay big. I didn't see any big boulders, and I sort of ran out of batteries for drilling holes. So I just decided to set up on that transition, and I know it's close to this mound that I'm on. The mound's sort of behind me a little bit. So the dream is that the walleye are going to be coming into the shallows, and I'm going to be there waiting for them, as the sun sets. I haven't really been fishing that much yet. Really just got it all set up and got the camera going and got a jaw jacker about 10 feet out. It's in the sand, and I'm in the rocks here. I'll turn the camera around so you guys can see that. So out there, see if I can use the zoom on my camera. I can, nice. So yeah, there's the jaw jacker out there. It's a pretty nice day, I can tell you that. Just for fun. Now let's get started fishing. I was going to do a little tour on the outside. Let's do it. All right. Just the mic here. Yeah, it's nice and sunny indeed. That's what it looks like out here. So there is a crust on the slush now for those people who want to know. However, you can still see slush even around my hut here. I drilled a lot of holes. I don't know, more than I would drill by hand, that's for sure. All right, I'm going back in. It's pretty windy, and I'm gonna keep, you know what? I think I'm gonna close the door and just try to keep my eye on that jaw jacker through the window, because this wind happens gonna get really annoying. All right. Sorry if I missed anybody's comments here. Yeah, you know what? Where I am, Bernard, everyone else is probably about a kilometer further out than me. So it's quiet, but I'm closer to the houses, I wouldn't feel really comfortable just like standing out facing the neighborhood and taking a whiz. I figured somebody would get out the binocs there. Just going back through. How's it going, Mr. Freeze? Bernard, right on. Steve Wagner, welcome to the party. Of course, David Bennett. He's here, so the fish are going to start biting. Yep. All right. Well, guess I'll fish, you know? So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to throw down first. I mean, I've already got this big vibrato on there. Might as well fire it down for a couple of wings. You know, it's crazy. While I was drilling all those holes out there, I got, you know, I guess it was cold and windy, so there was some serious booger action going on. And you know, you can do it, you know, the one style you sort of plug one nostril and blast it out the other. You know, I've done that in the past, but this time I actually found one of the masks, you know, the ones that we get to wear all the time. And it made a pretty good Kleenex, I'll tell you. I mean, not great, but it was pretty absorbent, you know. But it was like running down my face. It was pretty rough. That's an interesting idea, David. That's an interesting idea indeed. I actually have my video camera set up to be on the minnow that's out there. It was once set up on the minnow. So looking down at my screen over here, you guys can probably see some things on that camera. Probably not a lot. I might mess with the brightness and stuff. But there was once a minnow in the center of the image there. Let me see, I got the remote here. Let's see if it's still spinning. Sometimes the holes freeze up pretty quick. Yeah, great. Fantastic. Yeah, so my camera's frozen in position. Like I said, it was set up to be on the minnow that was out there, but it's gotten quite a bit darker. Oops. So I haven't got out fishing much at all this week. Today's day one. I meant to get out earlier, but then, you know, I had to go to a dentist appointment. So that had to be done. Oops. You know, I swear when I was lowering down, I was lowering down my Markham camera there, and I swear it got bumped by something. Of course, I didn't see anything, but it definitely, like it was dangling it there, definitely felt like something was bumping it. I need to adjust my unit here. Has anyone else been out ice fishing lately? I keep thinking about what my plan's going to be once Nipissing closes. Thinking I might try some nearby trout lakes. It's what I usually do every year, and I'm quite unsuccessful at it. I don't think I've caught any trout through the ice, with the exception of lake trout, but never any brookies. I've probably only caught like one brookie, maybe 3 brookies in my lifetime. Anybody on here a wizard at catching those things? Because I could sure use some tips. You know, I would, I would video it unless I didn't catch anything, and then I would probably just trash the video. I just get deleted. There's nothing sucks more than trying to make a fishing video about catching nothing. But I guess that's what a lot of these, a couple of these live streams have been about. Catching nothing. I mean, last week I guess I caught one fish at the very, very end. So, Brad, do you usually go exclusively for perch there? Or are you going for whiteys as well? I may have asked you this already, but I'm asking again. I keep thinking about how sweet it's going to be next year. You know, having my brother come by and having my friends visit. Hoople Creek, eh? Sounds like. So you can ice fish on there? Is that the scoop? Or are you able to fish open water now? So Brad, I guess you get some pretty sweet jumbo perch there. I remember whenever I used to try Simcoe there, I would catch, like this is way, way back, I would just catch small perch, really. But I know there's some monsters in there, just I never caught them. Ian, I haven't seen any pike through the ice yet this year. This place isn't necessarily a hot spot for them, but I can tell you that they're definitely in here, and there's definitely some decent ones that come cruising through. I usually catch a couple of them a year, but never like a crazy amount. But there's been some half decent pike I've seen come through with friends and whatnot. I've been watching a lot of videos about guys fishing for whitefish. I mean, there's a lot of videos out there because there's a lot of YouTubers fishing around the Lake Simcoe area for whiteys and stuff like that. So there's a lot of material being produced out of that area and of all the Simcoe area. But, you know, I'd love to figure out how to do whitefish on this lake. I know people say they're not as abundant, but I also suspect that a lot of people just don't really care about fishing for whitefish on Nipissing since we have such an abundance of the wallies. So on Hoople Creek, how much ice forms on there? And when you're fishing a creek, what kind of different things are you looking for as far as not falling through? Because everything I've read, they're always like, stay away from running water. So if you're a seasoned creek fisherman or river fisherman who fishes on the ice on a river, how do you avoid hazards? Or what are the hazards you're looking for? Because it must be different than the lake. You know, usually on the lake, if you see water coming into the lake, then you know it's probably not a good spot. What are we going to throw on here? Ah, yes. Sorry. One of those situations where all my hooks are stuck to each other. So I'm going to throw on this rattler here by Rapella. It's funny, sometimes they make baits like this one. It looks a little bit more like a rocket chip than a lure. like some sort of retro future retro style. I think I caught a couple of fish on this before, so maybe that style will work out for me. Okay. Got a good view of the jaw jacker out there, no action. Yeah, thanks for watching my brother's channel there, Brad. He sort of started it just this year. Sometimes, like, you know, I think when I make videos and I do narration, I try to sort of ham it up a little bit and try to be funny that way. Whereas I think when I listen to my brother's narration on his channel, it just makes me laugh how straightforward he is. But you know, it's a different vibe. You know, more chilled, I guess. Although I guess my channel is pretty chilled out. I'd like to hope. Maybe it's more formal, I'd say. Upper red, eh? You know, I've caught so many perch on Nipissing here over the last few years that I kind of like the idea of mounting a perch. Like if I catch a real monster, like a 15-incher, like you said, I'm like, maybe I'd get that mounted just because I've come to enjoy perch so much and catching like big daddies. Welcome to the party, JM. Huh. You know, sometimes with Navionics there, I check out, you know, areas where it says things are, and sometimes it's off. And I'm like thinking, like, you said this drop off was here, Navionics, and here I am in a big flat again. So sometimes I've had to move around a little bit. You, David, you ate the whole whitefish today, eh? Did you just fry it up and munch it down, or did you make him some fish burgers, fish tacos? Welcome to the party, Richard. Skunked again here, eh? Let's hope that doesn't happen to me. We're 19 minutes in. So far, no luck, but the sun's still up. Those fish are out there resting up to come in for the sundown bite. Yeah, you know, I like eating fish, but that sounds like you ate a couple pounds of fish there, David, in one shot. Or did you spread it out over the day as well? How's it going, Craig? Started to rain on Simcoe, eh? It was raining here not so long ago. It's kind of good, though. It's kind of nice to hear. So here's a question for you. When you're fishing, ice fishing on a river, do you use like really heavy weighted baits to keep it down? Or could you even, you know, throw down a crankbait and have the current pull it down? That sounds like a really nice perch mount, I must say. Yeah, the minnow in front of its mouth, that's perfect. Maybe one day he'll catch a big pike and he can put, have the mount modified to have the pike trying to eat the perch, and then the perch is eating the minnow. Slab wrap. That's not the one I just put on, is it? It's definitely... Oops. I'm not sure if it's written on this one. I don't know. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with what this one is called. I kind of forget the name. I'm going to keep working it for a bit, though. That's awesome, David. Number 5, jigging wrap, eh? Saginaw River. Yeah, that seems like a kind of... That seems like a kind of a sweet way to roll, like working with the current through the ice. I haven't really used the Garmin GPS on it, aside from if I drop something off the side of the boat. I mean, I've tried it in a few places, but I guess I'm so used to using my phone for coordinating things that I usually keep everything there. But I wonder if I check the Garmin GPS on here, I wonder if I need some sort of special map, like a bonus, pay $150 map or something. Let me check check what we got here. Whoops. Some sort of like official boating map or something on that one for it to give me like the actual information on the drops and stuff like that. Up Red, northern Minnesota. Right on. So the cohos are still in the river, David. I imagine the bows would be for sure. I remember lots of people fishing for them in the spring. Whoop. I'm gonna have to look up that. Did you call it the slab wrap? Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I have seen them. Maybe I have seen them. So my lure is not the one. Megabass, dark sleeper. That sounds like you just made that one up there, Anthony. But I will look it up anyway, just not right at the moment. Megabass. Let's see, what are we gonna throw on next here? What is all that? think I'm gonna throw on. Might try to throw some lures out there that haven't seen much action in a little while. You guys ever use one of these guys? It's the Acme 10 gram. It's got little wings that pop out anyway, and it glows. So I'm just gonna glow it up my window. Got lots of sunlight here. All right, I'm gonna try this without any bait on it for a minute, and then I might fire a minnow piece. So nothing on the live minnow outside. Vibrating beads in it, eh? Works well for pike. All right, I will look up that one when I get the next opportunity. That's the V blade. Good to know. Makes sense with the look of it. Huh. That's interesting info about how to fish in the creek there. New Carlisle. Boy, I've seen some people do some real wild work on a fillet job on all kinds of fish. I've seen some terrible, terrible fillet jobs. Guess it takes a while to get the hang of it, you know? That's interesting info there, Craig, as well. Yeah, I guess your lure would be blown back a bit from your hole there, so I wonder if you could, I was gonna say maybe you could tilt the sensor, but it might be tricky to get it in the right direction. That must be the downfall of the Striker 4, Nathan. No maps, no way to load them. That's an interesting. Did the guy put the liver on his hook as like a bait, or pardon me, not as a bait, as a bet, or did he? Is that a method he uses often? It sounds pretty ingenious, actually. Whoa. I believe, Brad, you can put in waypoints, so that's a good point. Hey, Tim, thanks for the good luck. That must have been one awkward text message, David. What was the follow-up message to that? Or what was the response? Hype glide. Hyperglide. Okay. I remember the guy down at North Bay Outfitters, he gave me a sales pitch on this lure. How it was one of the hotter lures of the season. Len F Fishing. Here's the down low on what's going on here. I've gone out to a shallower area where it's about 10 feet, 9.5, 10 feet. It's a transition area between the clam beds that I've been fishing so far this season to where the rocks start. I'm sort of at the tip of a mound that comes out from shore. It's really the only piece of structure that is within walking distance for me. And so far, I've caught nothing here. But, you know, fishing has really slowed down over the last few live streams. So I had to try something new. So I figured it can't get any worse. Maybe it'll get better. We bet them. Seems like those pike will go for just about anything, eh? Thanks, Craig, for liking this video. Other people, if you could do that, it's a huge favor. This actually, I guess, unfortunately, will be, what, the second last one before they shut the lake off. I have never been to the east coast of Canada. I would love to go. Sounds like a pretty sweet place for catching all sorts of fish. The only ocean fishing I've ever done was in Cuba. And the funny thing is you throw a bobber out with some bait on it and like 100 fish come and eat whatever's on there. I didn't catch anything too interesting, but I did definitely get a lot of small fish. And the fish down there, you know, you pull out a perch or whatever, and he's like, oh man, I'm out of water. Down there in Cuba, when you catch one of those small fish, the first thing they're trying to do is bite you as hard as they can. So you gotta be careful. They all seem to have like those ocean fish got a real attitude, I guess. David, I'm laughing at your story. Come on, fish, let's go. Right on, Len. Welcome to the party. We're about halfway through. Haven't seen anything on the dead stick. Haven't seen anything on the radar. Nothing on the camera. Took a skunk with the whiteys, eh, Tim? Are whiteys like generally pretty easy to catch? Or is it like the kind of thing where, like all the other fish, there's really good days and there's really bad days? Cedric, I have definitely caught Cisco on Nipissing. They are like, actually, I've seen some videos of guys catching Cisco on Simcoe, and the Cisco they're catching down there seem like just sort of big smelt, you know? Whereas every Cisco I've caught here, they're always about 2 pounds, almost like, whoop. Yeah, Tim, there was this one little fish that was sort of orangey with these blue stripes on its side, and it had these sharp teeth, and every time you tried to get him off the hook, he was really trying to get you. And when you went snorkeling around, you would see them a lot. They'd be in every reef and every piece of coral. I'm not sure what kind of fish they were, but they were all about 6 inches long. New Carlisle, that sounds awesome. Fishing for striped bass. They get huge, don't they? I think I've seen some pictures of them, and they're, you know, they're monsters. Whoops. I might turn on a light in here. Not sure how it's. I'm gonna put on some live bait. So it looks like the sun is down now. So it's time for those fish to really start riling up, in my opinion. I caught a nice, it wasn't during a live stream, but I caught a pretty nice wally the other day using the rig I'm about to throw down. I'll show it to you once I got a minnow on there. So I got a big Williams with a short dropper with the minnow on it. Actually, probably used this last week. Yeah, this worked pretty well. The other day I went fishing and there was no action, no action, no action, no action. And then all of a sudden I had my camera down and the water has been a bit clear on Nipissing as of late for my camera. And all of a sudden I just see this small mass come zooming towards my bait. And it was like an 8-inch perch. And that was all I caught all day long. David, I haven't seen any marks whatsoever. Let's hope they're coming. Steve Wagner, yeah, they close off the entire lake to all species until May long weekend, I believe. You know, make sure you check your regulations instead of quoting me on that one. But yeah, you'd think you'd be able to keep fishing at least for perch. That would be nice, because I would keep fishing for probably 2 more weeks after the season closes if I was allowed to fish for perch. Like if they close walleye, that's fine. But if perch was still open, the ice is definitely solid enough after March 15th to keep fishing if you were allowed to. Maybe one day they'll change that, not sure. You know what, Cedric? I've been a few times this year, I put down my camera and I just see Nipissing Cisco. Like, and they were eating something. I'm not sure what, but they weren't eating my bait. But I'd see them just around my camera, you know, and a lot of them, because I guess they move in big schools. I think most people who are up here probably catch quite a few of them. I know I've seen lots of pictures from other parts of the lake where people catch a lot of them. They seem to be out in abundance, and they seem to have a ton of energy. It's the craziest thing. You fight them and they're hard fighters, and then you pull them out of the hole and then they're all over the place inside your hut. Like they don't stop once they're out of the water. They just keep going. Yeah, I think Craig, rattles might be my next bait, or my next try. I'm gonna try this big flashy spoon for a few minutes though. Yeah, this bottom isn't as soft as the other ones, because there's definitely rocks underneath me here. Not big rocks, but rocks nonetheless. Gonna turn on this light. What? Yeah. It's almost getting down to that. If my brother was here, he would put on Stompin' Tom, because he says the fish bite when Stompin' Tom's playing. I don't have Stompin' Tom available at the moment. Hey Fred, welcome to the party. Fishing on the Nip at the moment is not going amazingly. But you know, those fish are just resting up for a real flurry, no doubt. It's always awesome when you, I guess with fishing, when you don't catch something and maybe you don't catch something for a couple of days, and then one day you go out and you can't stop catching them. I think that's part of the magic of fishing, you know? If it was a real flurry every single day, it wouldn't be as awesome. £52 striped bass. Wow. What kind of lures do you use for those guys? Just spoons and stuff, or you got a whole variety? Craig, there was a minnow on my jaw jacker outside the hut. So minnows were in use, just not on my, I was trying out just a straight bait. I find the minnows kind of difficult to stick onto a rattle bait. I had one on there for a while. Don't take back the like. East coast of Quebec. Come on, fish. Let's go. July to September, eh? So, a striped bass, you're fishing them, did you say in a river? Is that right? Do they come up the river to spawn? Is that like what's going on? Thought I felt something. Huh. Yeah, there's one guy on Facebook there, Derek Bradfield, who I think he runs a few fishing pages. He's always fishing with a spreader with like the old school tip down rigs, you know, where you just hand line things. Seems to do pretty good. I have not seen any ling yet this season, but I haven't been out into the dark much at all yet this year. I'm sure in the final days of the season, I may, you know, be granted certain liberties. I'll be like, I'll say to my wife, like, you know, it's the last days of the season. Can I stay out till midnight fishing for ling? You know, if I was to do that on the regular, my wife might get annoyed. When you found the stripers with the lobster in its belly, was the lobster still good to go? Like, could you do a little bit of, you know, lobster striped bass meal combos? Bernard, yes, I do go lake trout fishing when I can. I do a bit in the summertime. Sometimes if I can get out in the spring and do like long line fishing, that works pretty well. As well, deep water jigging in the summer is something I like to do. I haven't caught like a crazy amount of lake trout, but I definitely have some methods that seem to work out for me for at least a couple of meals. All right, Dave, go change those light bulbs, buddy. Good luck. Using a drop shot on a dead stick, eh? I don't think I've used like technically a drop shot, but I've definitely had like a jig on the bottom and then 18 inches up, like a dropper line, I guess, that would have another hook and another lure on it. I've tried that one before. Yeah. Yep. You can't fish with my brother without him playing Stompin' Tom. Frank Zappa, eh? Mud shark. Tim, sometimes when I have a lot of time, I will fish a hole for half an hour or so. And that's in the past what I've done to try to find spots where fish were. So I'd fish for half an hour, drill another hole, like maybe go 100 yards, drill another hole, fish for half an hour. And if I could catch more, if I could catch 3 or more perch in a half an hour, then I would set up in that spot. These days, I rely a lot on that info that I had acquired years ago. So like in the moment, I do have a bunch of holes outside here where I could jump out and fish them. But I don't think I'm gonna move just yet because I'm sort of almost at the end of this live broadcast. But I might before I go in toss a line because I did drill, like I said, 10 holes. So I might try some of the other ones. If it wasn't as windy outside, I might pop out and just jump holes, but it's still a little breezy out there. Yeah, it's also funny, just thinking about it. Sometimes when I've moved around a lot, it's been productive, but sometimes I wonder if I had just stayed in that same spot, if the fish would have just eventually come by anyway. So that's a good question. Willie, I'm asking the same question, man. Where are the fish at? They don't seem to be coming by today. Tomorrow I'm going to take my son out for a fish, see how long he can last. He seems pretty stoked about it. What's going on, Dave? Yeah, the little guy is quite into fishing, Andre. I think he likes, like, he walks around with a little mini ice fishing rod that I gave him, and he's always wanted to jig around the house. So he really digs that part. He likes seeing ice augers drill holes. In fact, he always wants me to play him videos of just that. So that's pretty funny. I don't think I know he's sort of understanding that you're going to catch fish, but I think he's just more interested in using the tools. He actually was going through my tackle box quite a bit the last time I had him out, and it was kind of spooking me out because I wasn't sure if there's any open hooks around. So what I did for tomorrow is I got him this little wee mini, it's like a lunch bag, but he really enjoyed playing with the plastic baits. So I figure I'm just gonna fire, because I got a million plastic baits around, I'm just gonna fire a bunch of those packages into his little lunch box there, and he can dig through there and pull out the baits all he wants without me worrying about whether or not he's gonna hook himself. Yeah, I can imagine those stripers got some pretty heavy acid in their bellies. All right, I'm gonna put on the loudest lure I've got. I'm gonna fire on that same minnow. Just had on. Let's big, it's loud. See how, and it's got a minnow. Maybe there'll be a ling coming in, eh? I hope we catch some fish tomorrow. I know there's been a few people telling me they've been hitting a skunk as of late. That sounds great. New Carlisle, I'd like to see some videos of this in action. What's your favorite way to get the Lakers when you're fishing for them in the winter, Bernard? Yeah, right on. Johnny Cash. No luck today, Dave. I was sort of taking a chance on this spot here. Around this area, I did once catch 3 walleye. I don't know how many years ago, but it was at sunset. It wasn't this exact spot, but it was maybe 50 yards from here. That sounds like a sweet invite there, New Carlisle. Have fun at work, buddy. Lenaf, my son, is a year and a half now. So he's been walking for a little bit, but he still isn't completely talking. He says a few words, I guess. Richard, that sounds like my brother when he was that age. My brother, when he was really young, liked fishing, and then as he got older, he hated it. He thought it was boring as hell. But I kept loving it. I never stopped loving fishing. And then he just wanted to drive the boats around and rip around and all that stuff. And it wasn't until he was in his 20s, I think, when he started liking fishing over again. You know, sometimes I'm surprised when I'm fishing with my wife, Bernard, that she sometimes catches some pretty impressive fish for somebody who doesn't really care that much about fishing. I've seen her catch some like pretty nice bass, and she caught a pretty juicy sheep's head out here once as well. And one time she caught, it's probably like the biggest pike I've seen in this area, but it was only like about 10 pounds. But I'm just like, wow, what is it? It's like, I tried so hard. David, you missed nothing but me turn on my light, probably. Skunk today twice, huh? That sucks, Jason. Jason, I feel the same thing. I have not seen perch in my area like I used to see them in a long time. Not in a long time, but probably not as many last year, and this is probably the fewest I've seen this year. And I'm wondering if it's just I'm not getting out as much, or it tends to be that I get out once or twice a week, but for very short periods of time, like an hour, like now. Hour or two, whereas it used to be I would go out with my brother or friends or whatever and sit for the entire day from morning to night, and then I would tend to catch a bunch of perch. So I'm always wondering, like, is there less perch in the area, or is it I'm just not fishing as much as I used to? I'd like to think that those perch are just somewhere at a different part of the lake, hanging out, doing their thing. The reasons are their own. Yeah, whenever I'm going for the lake trout through the ice, definitely white lures, white tubes, rattle baits as well. I always find with the lake trout that if you can get something down there, that they're usually pretty willing to bite, but it's not always the case. So Jason, you usually go out from Sunset Park there. That's your spot. I think you said Amelia Park as well. Boy, it would be crazy. I'm just thinking about the hut operators and them. If any one of them was to like open up business for the very last week, it must be so much work to get everything set up. But I'm sure lots of people would be running to try to get out for one last shot. So I'm thinking at the end of the season, once these videos, or what am I trying to say here? At the end of the season, I'm probably gonna archive. Maybe I'll let them sit for a month or whatever, but I'm probably gonna archive all these live streams, just because they're super long. I don't know if it's anything that somebody is seriously gonna revisit in the future. They're like, oh, let's watch that long, boring live stream where the Coke machine caught nothing. Oh yeah, Wazi Lake. I've got a cousin who goes there, camps there every year. I've never fished there myself. So I think I'm gonna give this 5 more minutes and then I'm going in. I left some chicken wings and some marinade, and my wife I think has put them on, so I get a chance to go eat those. Yeah, it's definitely, well, can't say I didn't try to find like a new spot here. I'm just not too sure what my next move is, like for next week. So the clam flats aren't working. The finger coming out from the shore isn't working. Next week, it's like, do I just try to go further out? Do I try to find, like, there's some weed beds around that are shallower? They're probably like around the same depth as this, max. I don't know if I fished them too much in the winter. Yeah, that is true. That is why they call it fishing and not catching. It is pretty sweet. Dave Austin doing these live broadcasts. sort of, gives me somebody to chat to. Well, I'm getting skunked out here. It's like chatting with you guys. It's like I've learned about fishing in different areas, fishing in creeks, fishing for striped bass, people fishing Simcoe, all sorts of different stuff. Yeah, I've also learned that, how to use my Striker 4 a little bit better from you guys, from like Struckus and Craig giving me tips. Yeah, it's been swell. It's like I've been thinking about like how to do live streaming more, or to continue doing live streaming. Say like when the summer hits, it would be funny to be sitting on the shore doing this and casting and stuff like that. The tough part is trying to chat with people and fish at the same time. Ice fishing is kind of perfect for it because you, sorry, I'm just trying to, my lure is caught on itself down there. Sure. Sometimes you can fix it, sometimes you can't. Yeah, ice fishing sort of lends itself to this because you're sort of sitting there a lot. There's no casting and whatnot, just right down the hole kind of a thing. But I wonder if I was to set up while casting on the shores of Nipissing. I know it can be pretty nice in the spring. The wallies can come around. I don't know if that's something that would interest people. I mean, be the same crappy, same crappy quality of video. Well, good luck there, Jason. Tim, you say I should go deeper? I just may do that. I may like double my space. Like I usually have gone out like half a K, may go a full K next time. Yeah, we're getting down to the last minute here. Thanks, Lawrence. My the live feed uses about a gigabyte an hour, although I just got a warning from my phone that I apparently used 2 gigabytes. I don't know how that happened because it's the same amount of time. So it's not so bad if you got one of those plans where you have a lot of data. But yeah, it's not too... I thought it would be way worse. I thought it would be like 10 gigabytes for an hour, but it's not. Thanks a lot, Tim. I'm going to be taking the boy out tomorrow. Maybe the perch will be agreeing, and maybe the boy will catch his first fish. Still waiting for that. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. Go in and eat some chicken wings. I hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you next week for what will be, unfortunately, the final Lake Nipissing live stream. However, the season doesn't necessarily end next Thursday, so I may or may not sneak another one in for fun another day. We'll see. But we'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night.